Welcome back to the Life of Nurse podcast. Hope you're doing well today. It's going to be a shorter episode, not too much going on. I think everyone's sort of waiting in anticipation for the big Geneva Watch Days that is taking place in a couple of days here. If you don't know, I'll give a little bit of background on Geneva Watch Days, and then I'll talk through the symposiums that are happening that are being hosted by Revolution Watches. Some nice topics, some true geniuses and influential individuals are going to be part of the panels. So very excited for all of that to take place. I'll then talk about two recent boutique experiences that I've had that I thought actually reflected really well on the brands. That will kind of be the other topic. So if you don't know, Geneva Watch Days is an industry salon founded in September 2020 by 8 prestigious watch brands: Breitling, Bulgari, Debutune, Gérard Perregaux, H. Moser, MBNF, Ulysse Nardin, and Urwerk. The event is based on the modern and unconventional philosophy that emphasizes cooperation while avoiding complexity. It's an independent and collaborative organization that is self-managed, providing a common space to showcase the latest in watchmaking while giving participating brands the opportunity to host sort of decentralized activities. It's held in the canton and the city of Geneva, and is an event that many people go to. This year, it's taking place from August 29th to September 2nd. It's a very exciting time for the watch industry because some of the brands that are participating are going to be announcing some cool things. So as an example, MBNF is obviously partaking in this, and what's really cool about that is the fact that their only watches release is going to be, I think, released or showcased at Geneva Watch Days, and then they are also, I think they might have an announcement for some other piece. So some cool things that happen with brands who participate, and there's a big long list. I'll put a link in the show notes to their official website so you can see who's actually partaking, but some cool names on the list: Arnold & Sons, Armstrong, Breitling, Bulgari, Debutune, Group of 4, CH Moser, MBNF, Jacob & Co. if that's your taste. Messina Labs is going to be there, Oris, Ulysse Nardin, Urwerk. So tons of brands are going to be there. So if you're interested and you're in the Geneva area, I would highly recommend going there to see that happen. Now, what I wanted to discuss was the symposiums where individuals will talk on specific topics. As I mentioned, Revolution and Grail Watch are going to be sort of hosting these symposiums, and there are a total of 6 throughout the week. So the first one that I'll mention is Tuesday the 29th, to sort of kick off the event, which is going to be the watch industry's greatest brand builders. Some really great individuals are going to be there. Jean-Christophe Babin, Jean-Claude Biver, Max Busser, and Georges Kern. And it's going to be moderated by Waco and Oliver Muller. So a nice group of individuals, fairly innovative in the watch industry. Some of the greatest minds, not just brand builders, but some of the greatest minds in watches, for sure. On the 30th, there's going to be International Stars of Independent Watchmaking. So you have Konstantin Chakin, Michael Holthenrichs, Benoit Minto of Resonance, Naoa Hida. I apologize if I'm butchering these names, but he will be there. Some really nice watches actually I've seen on Instagram from Hida. Christian Hüter of Moritz Grossman, and Robin Talendia from Atelier Venn. This will also be moderated by Waco and also Arthur Touchot. It's funny because you would think that MBNF would be there, but a lot of diversity there as well. Then there is the Legends of Independent Watchmaking Part 2, which will be a discussion between Ludovic Ballard, Bernard Lederer, Romain Gauthier, Edouard Mela from H. Moser, Laurent Ferrier, Bart Grunefeld, and Xavier de Roch-Maurel of Zapec. This will be moderated by the same individuals from the previous one. Grunefeld will be great. Gauthier, I think, will be great. All these individuals are going to be great, but that's a really nice one if you're into sort of independent watchmaking at a high level. The 31st is the most innovative retailers. This is an interesting one because it is it's from a retail lens as opposed to maybe a watchmaking lens, but I think it definitely gives nice little flavors. So you'll have Jacopo Corvo from GMT, David Hurley from Watches of Switzerland, Mohammed Siddiqui from Ahmed Siddiqui and Sons, Jared Silver from Steven Silver Fine Jewelry, and Michael Tay from the Hourglass. The 31st, there will also be influencers, innovators, and disruptors. Some cool names here as well. Waco and Eleanor Picciotto will moderate a discussion between Dylan Bott, Andrea Casalegno, Austin Chu, Jessica or JJ Owens, Ahmed Rahman, and Asher Rapkin. So some diversity there. It's interesting that so far I have said 2 ladies' names who are going to be part of these panels, but it's exciting that JJ Owens or Jessica Owens will be there. It's always nice to get the female's perspective on things, and I think some of the things that she's doing over at Grail Watches is brings some fun to watch collecting, and is a very important part of where watch collecting and watch enthusiasm is going. On the 1st of September, Watchmaking's Rising Stars will be there. There will be 7 individuals, so head over there to check, head over to the website to check out those individuals. But some really great panels. If the ones that I would really want to see, the first one, Watch Industry's Greatest Brand Builders, because you have some, actually, you know what, I would want to go to all of them, but if I was to rank them, definitely the Brand Builders one. Legends of Independent Watchmaking would be interesting, and I think the influencers, innovators, and disruptors would be cool just to get a women's perspective on watch collecting. So highly recommend, if you are in the area, to try and go, or at least be part of the festivities. You can check out the link in the show notes for Geneva Watch Days. I wanted to briefly talk about 2 experiences that I had at retailers over the last couple of months. I'm not one who goes into retailers too often, but I did have the opportunity to go and speak with some of them recently. The first one, and you might have seen this on the Life on the Wrist Instagram, was actually, I guess it's not really a boutique, but it was the Mad Lab in Geneva. I went back in June, I think, or maybe end of June, and it was a very exciting time for me. It was the first time that I went to a Mad gallery, which obviously is my, MB&S is my favorite brands, and it was great to be able to go and see the one in Geneva and interact with some individuals there. It was cool to see some of the creations. They had some of the MB&F models there, but they also had other horological pieces of art, or not horological, other kinetic art at the boutique, which was really cool to see. I also had the opportunity to connect with Hervé, who was at the gallery, as well as Jeffrey, who recently joined MB&F and is going to be expanding, or I guess helping out with the Mad gallery in. I think it's actually the director. I shouldn't speak incorrectly about sort of his role, but a Mad gallery, or a Mad Lab, is going to be opened in Beverly Hills, and so he's going to be the boutique director at that the Mad Lab, which is exciting. It's great to see that it's expanding to other areas and areas of opportunity and enthusiasm, which is great to sort of hear. Anyway, so I got to a chance to just speak to them about the brand and what they're doing and some of the pieces and the philosophy behind the brand. And it was such an incredible experience. As I was saying, it was a great experience to be able to experience the brand, experience the people close to the company. And I think that's what makes MBNF so special, is the people involved in the program. I do think that it's a unique experience when you go to larger retailers. You might not get that sense from the individuals you speak with, because they are, operating at a larger scale. And so it's going to be a different experience from going to a company that makes 350 watches a year. But it was a great experience. If you want to go to our Instagram, Life on Earth's Instagram, you can see there is a story that we saved of what we saw there, and I highly recommend checking that out. If you are also going to be there in Geneva for Geneva Watch Days, go to the Mad Lab, or the Mad Gallery, because you can see some of the watches, but you can also see some really cool kinetic sculptures. Just recently I went to the Erlangen Söhne boutique in New York, which was a really cool experience for a number of reasons, but they had just moved boutiques, so they were located a little bit further, I think somewhere in the 70s, on Madison Avenue, and I think they moved locations. I think somewhere down to the 60s. So they had just opened a completely new boutique, completely renovated, which was really cool to see the basically the newest boutique that they have. Erlangen also kind of operates at a smaller production number compared to many other brands like Omega or Rolex. So there was also quite a cool personal touch. I had the opportunity to speak to Marcelo, who I think is from the Miami boutique, but was up in New York helping out, and it was really cool to speak to him about the new openings and the new pieces that they have. I got to try on some of the watches, which was really nice, and that was kind of like the first thing that they said, let us know if you want to try anything on, which I thought was kind of inviting. It allows you to kind of enjoy the watches with them. So two really great experiences. These are smaller brands, like I mentioned, so it might be different than going into a Rolex boutique, but it was cool to speak to them as well. And I think it's something that if you are interested in watches, it's important to do, because that experience will obviously give you an idea of what kind of brand they are, what kind of people are associated with the brand, and I think that's really important. And from a retailer's perspective, that's the type of environment that you should be creating. A shorter episode today, but I just wanted to make sure that I at least talked about something. So I'll leave it there for this episode. I'm sure next week there will be something that we will want to talk about, especially with the kickoff of Geneva Watch Days. Maybe we'll skip next week because Geneva Watch Days will be next Tuesday, or it'll open next Tuesday. So the following week, I'm sure that there's going to be stuff to talk about. So we'll leave it there, and thanks for tuning into the podcast. If you wouldn't mind doing all the normal stuff, following this podcast, rating it if you have some free time, share it with a friend who might be interested in watches. We'd love for that to for the podcast to grow. Hit us up on Instagram if you want to talk about anything that we spoke about on this podcast or previous podcasts. There'll be links in the show notes to all of our socials. With that said, guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and until next time.